Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with the final episode of Walks with Schla, and I just can't believe I'm back out here recording again. It feels like I that last hour, I'm not quite sure where it went. I don't really know what's going on, so I'm almost gonna forget to start my workout on my watch. Yeah, it's a shame, my exercise isn't great, because the good workout is a truly good indicator of things, but just the health and stuff, especially with my meat diet, exercise really important. But I just can't run. I'm just getting too lazy. Getting way too lazy. But it's a shame because I know the cognitive benefits are probably what's more important to me, and I bet even just running once a week would easily, that would really catapult me. That's what I was doing for a while too, just doing it on the weekends. And I kind of want to push to start doing it again. We'll see how it goes. I didn't do it this week, but in time, I guess we'll see how that turns out, how that shapes up, So yeah, I really liked that tangent I went on the end there. The episode started kind of boring, kind of lame, kind of bad, but it turned pretty good. I think Golden Age Graduate was like, I can't believe I just came up with that out of nowhere, because the amount of times I've talked about and ranted about that point, and then like that just came out. Like I was locked in. You guys could tell that last speech there, that was a good speech. That was feeling good. You know what I mean? So I was figuring things out. I was feeling good. Feeling free, feeling strong, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. So yeah. I'm not sure. It's like it's been an hour, but it feels like I didn't even get a chance to breathe. Like, you know what I'm saying? These days they're too short. They're just way too short. I can't get over that. Yeah, like an 8-hour shift, it's healthy, man. It's really healthy. An 8-hour shift is so healthy. Like the 40-hour work week as a concept is actually like a good thing. I don't know. It feels amazing. It almost makes life worth living. Like if I'm doing more than a 40-hour work week, because of the other days. I'm just saying I get to feel what these days are like again, and wow, it's very nice. It's super nice. So I can only imagine the 30-hour work week. That would really be a treat, wouldn't it? Just depends. I've heard a lot of good stuff about that, but we'll have to see how it goes. It could be, in time, tech would reshape things to make it so that would make more sense. Because if you have like AI kind of accelerating how much work is done, then you wouldn't need to work as many hours. Obviously, it just doesn't make any sense. If you can get more done, I think I talked about this in a car rides with Schla before. Like, obviously, once the calculator was invented, you definitely did not need as many people doing math for the business. Or once computers came along and now you have like spreadsheets and everything's organized on the computer, you definitely don't need as many people doing the bookkeeping stuff, because it's just faster and easier to access and type out with a computer. It's substantially more efficient. So it's just kind of like that. Now the problem is that since we're very business forward, the issue is that companies will just take it for profit and just start like, oh, well, we'll just fire employees, and not really pass down any of the added productivity benefits. And that's not really fair, and it also doesn't really make any sense because it's going to end up hurting the economy a lot. So I think that actually could be one of the problems with the AI boom is like, it's another selfish thing, really, is what it is, because it's true that companies are going to want to bankrupt people. Companies are going to think about the money, and if they realize, like, okay, now I can fire a bunch of these higher paid workers because half of the workers can just start using AI and execute the tasks faster, so we don't need to have as many managers or higher ups hired and working because it's fine. You don't need them. And then they're going to do that, and then it's going to be like, the problem is now there's like, let's say every company does that. Now you have like tens of thousands of people who are just don't have a high income anymore, which means they're not buying cars, they're not going out to stores, spending as much in stores, and they're not, right? So it actually hurts the economy. It literally makes no sense. And then that in some way comes back to bite the company. Like, isn't that crazy to think about? Because any company does well when the economy does well. Because then now what if it's like, now the product that company makes, other companies aren't buying as much because the economy's in a slump. See how it's just like very self-centered and really stupid? Like, do you notice that? It's I don't know, I think that's pretty interesting. You know what I mean? Like, how humans are that like short-sighted that they can't comprehend that properly. It's I think it's really something. I don't know, that's my opinion. It's just like crazy. That's what I think. It's crazy. Super crazy. I don't know. I really don't know. Because that's what the economy is. I mean, everybody sees it as like a selfish thing, and they think about property and stuff, but it's all so illusionary. Like, the people who are rich are only rich because of poor people working. If the workers didn't work, then money would lose all its value, because then you wouldn't be able to buy anything or pay anybody to do anything. Like, I feel like, I wonder if people even understand that, like they just feel like people never even think about anything. They just like fantasize about being rich and have like no idea what that even means or entails. But that is kind of the problem with how things are now, is you have so much money like in stocks and just like sitting in retirement accounts and just sitting in these people's accounts, and it's not getting used for anything. Like, you can kind of wonder how the economy would be better if more people were paid higher. Maybe more people would buy iPhones more frequently, and then Apple would make more money, and then I mean, there's a lot of things that would change. But again, I'm going to tie it back around to what I've been saying, which is that a lot of this is like destiny. It's sort of stuff that's destined to happen. So we're obviously going through a period of time where there's been such a lack of human progress for like it's been decades of just like indulgence and kicking the stone down the road. I'm getting the expression wrong. There's some expression for that, like kicking kicking the can. It's probably kicking the can down, something like that. Kicking the rock, kicking the can, kicking the stone. They keep like just pushing off the problems and keep indulging in the short term. And at this point, that's becoming like extremely costly and extremely alarming. And then we're just still doing it. And nobody's really doing anything to stop it. So it's a lot of selfish and greedy people. And this is mostly older adults that just, I hope it's ignorance, because I really hope they're not consciously doing it. But again, I think most people are so like wrapped up in their personal lives that they don't even think about any of this stuff. That's probably what it is. They're just so wrapped up in like their personal lives and like their own drama. Whereas I have my fair share of that as well. I mean, I've talked about it a lot on here. I've definitely had my fair share of that. But I guess I guess that is possible. It's possible I've just been spared. I've just been put into situations where like the nonsense drama has not occupied as much of my life, because of course, you know, like any family, my family's had arguments, and it's been very inefficient and like lots of time wasted on these like frivolous emotional matters that there should just be a system in place to solve it, and just kind of have things like, nope, you're wasting time, you're wrong, boom, nope, like stop wasting people's time, you know. But obviously people, they get upset, they have these like random events that happen, and it's like emotional issues and stuff, and it's a huge waste of time, effort, and energy and resources. But most importantly, again, humans' emotional bandwidth, which they then probably lack to be able to dedicate into where it should be, which is like society and making sure that everything's okay in that sense. And that's kind of what's crazy is, I don't know, of course it's something very difficult to have data on or quantify, but it at least appears to be the case. It appears to be the case that people are just crazier now. Like, I don't even know how or why, but it seems like it. I mean, as a percentage, it seems like people are just crazier. And you wonder why that is. I mean, it's probably technological misuse, which allows a further maximizing of negative traits or effects. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, that could definitely just be it right there. Allows a further pursuit of really any type of potential, which means some people have used technology to become excessively wealthy, and they have like no idea what's wrong with the rest of society. And then other people use it, and especially my generation, if you don't have any clear like guidance about it. Sorry, I'm just like confused because that's the second time I tripped on this stump, and I'm trying to find where it is. Is this it? No, I wonder where that, because it like comes out of nowhere. There's like a stump somewhere here. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. Luckily I didn't actually fall or anything, but yeah, it's weird. It's like a mystery tree stump. I mean a root. Sorry, I don't know why I'm saying stump. It's a root that I tripped over. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much the problem that I'm talking about. Yeah, sorry, no, I obviously trailed off there. I mean, that's that's to be expected. Oh yeah, and then most of us, especially those without guidance, it's like been even worse, because you basically just occupy a larger percentage of your time with entertainment and distraction, which come to find out, not a good outcome for people. You know, I mean, a lot of people, they used to say games, because I used to see videos about it where people would talk about, oh, well, they say video games are bad, but for me, it was really an escape from my bad life. And so I think games have really helped me through a lot and all this stuff. And, you know, you hear that argument back then and it sounds fine, you know? But you have to remember, like, how much that really helps. I know it's like a difficult thing, especially humans are going to be biased toward the argument I just presented, but it's actually possible that it gives you the elevated state, and then it just makes it so it's more difficult to deal with your problems in life, you know, in comparison. It might like soften you up. It's not like, I mean, some people make it sound like, oh, without video games I wouldn't have made it through or something like that. And I just think that that's likely not the case. I mean, there could be some cases like that. I don't want to nullify that argument because it's not a terrible argument, you know. But it's just, there is that effect that happens where we are supposed to feel hurt, feel pain, rationalize it, move through it. It's come to me, the answer. Some people aren't capable of that. So for certain humans, I can't say that because not everybody could do, like, for example, what I do on this show, for example, like talk through stuff, let alone post it publicly on YouTube. I mean, people are a mess, and between like their ego and not wanting to admit certain things and just being very fragile, yeah, never mind. I guess it's probably the case, kind of my argument I've made before, where it's like most humans, and I mean it when I say most, it probably could be like a 60% figure. They probably might as well just scroll TikTok because they're not really going to remember anything anyway. And when it comes to significant bonds or deeper experiences in life, the 60%, it just probably doesn't really matter. They probably just want to eat tasty food cheaply, easily. In the past, yeah, there was a deeper depth to shows that would have certain concepts and stuff, and it was obviously in a long-form format, but now that we have this new wave, then that takes over. So, you know, then now you just have like people like that. But what I'm saying is, I don't know if their potential is higher. It's just like, I don't know, you know? And so in that case, if it would require, you know, a therapist and all this heavy counseling stuff, it might be true. It might definitely be true that people just, they basically have to self-medicate with like games or TikTok or whatever. But what I think is more dangerous, here's what I think is more dangerous. When it was video games that people were making this argument for, that's at least something where there's a community. There's usually, you know, some aspect of puzzle or problem solving within the game. I know the person I remember hearing that from, they were making a YouTube video, right? So they were successful, I don't know if they were like super big, but they were successful enough YouTuber. You have a dialogue about it, and it's like a true meaning. Now imagine if somebody tried to say that about TikTok. It just seems like ridiculous, you know, like you almost like wouldn't really listen to that person. You would you'd sort of like discount them because it's like, again, where's the memory? Where's the nostalgia? There's nothing there. It's like, well, you know what I'm saying? Like there was this one video I saw, I kind of remember. Like nobody's out here saying like TikTok saved them. Like it really helped me through a hard time. You don't hear that. You don't hear that. You did hear that with music. You did hear that with video games. And, you know, regular long form media. But you don't really hear stories like that anymore. You know, people like aren't really saved. Nobody's saying like, man, you know, that song, like that song really helped me through. You know, I don't know where I'd be without that song. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, people say that about songs, but then now it's like nobody's saying like, oh man, this TikTok trend, it really moved me. It's really given me like a new insight into. Nobody talks like that. I could be wrong. I guess I haven't really heard the discourse about it, but you can just tell based on that alone. Like, a lot of people in my generation, a little older, they would say these things, and I assume these are the deeper thinkers and feelers and experiencers, you know, in life, and they would interact with these forms of media that really touched them and moved them in a certain way, and now the argument is like gone. You know, you use this platform that's stimulating and addicting, and yet you don't walk away from that saying, oh, this really moved me. Oh, this really helped me. It helped me through a hard time that I could whip out of my phone and scroll TikTok for 2 hours. It just doesn't. And there's no dialogue to that. There's no community. It's just nothing. I think it's a pretty dark and a pretty scary thing to think about. You know, it's just like, wow. So, how's that for some food for thought? Anyways, it's been schla, but now it's time to buy schla. So, see you schla.